The case started with a noise complaint. Not screams, not a disturbance anyone could clearly describe. Just a low, repetitive sound coming from the apartment next door. A tenant called it in around 2:30 a.m., saying it had been going on for hours. A dull thumping, then silence, then the same thump again. Officers arrived expecting something minor. Maybe music, maybe someone working late. The building was older, walls thin, sounds traveled strangely. They knocked. No answer. The tenant who called stood in the hallway, arms folded tight, insisting something wasn't right. She said the man who lived there barely made noise. Kept to himself. Worked nights. Slept during the day. Not like this, she said. This is different. The officers listened. At first, nothing. Then it came again. A soft, rhythmic thud. Not loud, but deliberate. They knocked harder. Still no answer. That was enough to justify entry. When they forced the door open, the smell hit immediately. Not overwhelming. Not the kind that sends people reeling. Just wrong. Sweet, faint, buried under something chemical. The apartment looked clean. Too clean. Furniture placed with precision. Counters wiped to a shine. No dishes in the sink. No clutter anywhere. The sound stopped. One officer called out. No response. They moved through the apartment slowly, checking each room. Bedroom empty. Bathroom spotless. Closets nearly bare. The sound came again. This time, clearer. From the walls. They froze. Another thud. One officer pressed his ear against the drywall. The sound came from inside, somewhere behind it. Not pipes. Not building noise. Something else. They followed it to the far side of the living room, where a large bookshelf stood against the wall. It was filled, but strangely organized. Every book aligned perfectly. No dust. They moved it. Behind it was a section of wall that looked slightly newer than the rest. The paint didn't quite match. Another thud. This time, unmistakable. They called for backup. Within the hour, tools arrived. The drywall was cut open carefully. Each slice of the blade seemed too loud in the silence of the apartment. When the first section came down, the smell changed. Stronger, warmer, and then they saw it. A narrow space between the walls. Not part of the original building. Something added later. A hidden cavity running the length of the apartment. Inside were bones. At first, just fragments. Then more, carefully arranged, stacked, cleaned. The space extended further than expected, leading to a concealed door frame hidden deeper within the wall. Behind it was a room. Small, windowless, reinforced. The air inside was heavy and still. Plastic lined the surfaces. Hooks were fixed into beams. A single light hung from the ceiling. The source of the sound sat in the center of the floor. A man, alive, barely. He had been trapped there, bound, weak, using what little strength he had left to strike the wall. Over and over, that was the sound. The thud. He was the only one who made it out. Paramedics rushed him away. He survived long enough to tell police what happened. He said the man who lived there didn't force people inside right away. He talked to them first. Gained trust. Invited them in. The apartment felt safe. Clean. Controlled. Then the door would lock. The hidden room had been there for years. The bones in the walls belonged to others who hadn't escaped. When the tenant returned later that morning, he didn't seem surprised to see police. He looked at the broken wall, at the exposed space, and then at the officers. Calm, almost curious, like someone discovering a secret he thought no one else would ever find. At trial, evidence showed he had been living in the building for nearly a decade. Quiet, polite, invisible, no complaints, no suspicion. He chose victims carefully, people who wouldn't be missed immediately, people who trusted easily, people who stepped inside without hesitation. The surviving victim testified, but only briefly. He said the worst part wasn't the room. It was the waiting, the certainty that no one knew where he was, that no one was coming. After the conviction, the apartment was sealed, then gutted. The hidden space destroyed, new drywall installed, fresh paint, new tenants eventually moved in. But residents say the unit never feels quite right. Sounds carry strangely there. At night, when everything is quiet, people sometimes hear it. A soft, rhythmic thud. Faint, steady, like someone, somewhere, still trying to be heard.